Let's continue with the interpretation of Peter Attia's Outlive, and this is the 8th section. Nutrition might not be the coolest subject, but it's undoubtedly the most widespread and researched one. The discussions about what foods are beneficial or harmful for health are not only prevalent in middle-aged and elderly social circles, but also serve as a form of social currency. If you tell your uncle not to listen to those international relations professors, you might offend him. However, if you tell him that broccoli can prevent cancer, he'll feel a strong sense of kinship. However, these discussions often hold emotional value rather than practicality. The reality is, there's no magic food that can prevent cancer. Claims about certain foods preventing or causing cancer, even based on epidemiological studies, are either unreliable or show minimal effects. The scientifically established and impactful information about cancer risk is straightforward. Smoking significantly increases the probability of lung cancer. A more significant reality is that expecting to eat your way to a healthy body is a misconception. There is no magical food in this world that will upgrade your body. In this part, we discuss the elevated perspectives in nutrition. Let's put aside the speculations of the general public and focus on science and logic. Attia provides a comprehensive summary of the current state of nutrition in his book Outlive. My conclusion from reading it is this. Eating won't magically give you a healthy body, but if your body isn't healthy, you should pay attention to what you eat. If you have an excess of nutrients, you need to moderate your diet. If you have nutritional deficiencies, you need to supplement. But not with exotic supplements like seahorse and abalone, just regular protein sources like meat, eggs, and dairy. If you neither have excess nor deficiency, then nutrition won't make a significant difference. Nutrition is a supportive science. It doesn't add the finishing touch. If you want to upgrade your body, refer back to the previous section. Exercise is the key. However, eating can indeed harm your body. In today's world of abundant food choices, young people are prone to overnutrition, while older individuals, due to physical and mental reasons, might face malnutrition. Finding the right balance is crucial. As for specific foods that are exceptionally beneficial or harmful, it's the wrong question to ask. From a scientific standpoint, all foods are combinations of various nutrients, and nutrition science doesn't focus on the food itself, but its components. For instance, in an 8-year, $750 million large-scale study published in 2013, where 50,000 women were divided into 2 groups for a randomized controlled trial, aiming to investigate the benefits of a low-fat, high-fiber diet on health, no statistically significant differences were found. Why? Because the so-called low-fat diet in the experimental group meant that 28% of their caloric intake came from fat, while the control group, described as not restricting fat, had a fat intake of 37%. Not a substantial difference. If you want to know how small the differences are, the nutritional components of a regular diet for an average person are generally quite similar. Considering factors like participants not precisely adhering to dietary restrictions, inaccurate descriptions of dietary habits, challenges in scaling up and maintaining experiments over extended periods, most nutritional studies lack significant value. Moreover, their conclusions often contradict each other. However, if you insist on asking for the most straightforward should eat and shouldn't eat advice, Attia mentions 3 types of food in his book that have robust, almost black-and-white scientific conclusions. Firstly, avoid any beverages containing fructose. As discussed in the section on the metabolic system, fructose easily converts to fat, and fructose in beverages is rapidly absorbed by the body. Eating fruits is okay, but if you're someone serious about nutrition and possess strong willpower, Attia suggests giving up all sugary sodas, fruit juices, and milk tea after going through this section. Secondly, alcohol has no health benefits. The only advantage alcohol brings is pleasure. Many people believe that consuming a small amount of red wine every day is beneficial for the cardiovascular system. That's not true. Eliminating confounding factors like people who can afford to drink red wine every day are generally healthier, there is no actual benefit to red wine. Although there might not be significant harm in moderate consumption, considering the emotional value of stress relief, a bit less might be better. Thirdly, if you're curious about which dietary style is preferable, current research evidence most strongly supports the Mediterranean diet. This diet doesn't shy away from fat, or vehemently oppose carbohydrates. It emphasizes diversity, with the critical components being olive oil and nuts. In a study published in 2013, two groups instructed to adhere to diets including olive oil and nuts respectively showed a 31% and 28% lower probability of developing cardiovascular diseases compared to a low-fat diet group, an effect comparable to statin drugs. Moreover, olive oil and nuts were associated with improved cognitive abilities, whereas the low-fat group experienced a decline in cognitive function. So, in the future, you might consider using olive oil for cooking, treat nuts as snacks, and don't be afraid of fats. However, the key point is that the benefits of diet are limited. Now, let's delve into the advanced understanding of nutrition. You should focus not on specific foods, but on the nutritional components of these foods. We need to devise scientific strategies for three essential nutritional components: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. If you don't specifically consume sugar, then carbohydrates like rice, white flour, potatoes, corn, peanuts, and starchy legumes are the main sources of sugar in your body. And sugar can cause trouble. There is a trendy diet known as the ketogenic diet, which involves avoiding carbohydrates altogether. Not eating rice or bread, only consuming meat, eggs, dairy, and vegetables. Attia himself tried this for a while. However, he now views the ketogenic diet as an extreme measure suitable only for conditions like diabetes, and should be complemented with the use of metformin medication. You do need sugar, because you need calories. For most people, it's not about whether you should have carbohydrates, or not, but rather how much. In the modern world, refined grains, French fries, and sugary cakes, known as junk food, are everywhere, with calories being extremely cheap. As a result, people generally tend to consume excessive carbohydrates. The problem with junk food is not that it's bad. It's too good. Highly processed, incredibly tasty, and easily absorbed. Simply put, avoid junk food. The scientific approach is not to eliminate carbohydrates, but to control them. This requires researching the caloric content of each food before every meal, and deciding how much to eat based on your own needs. It's challenging because everyone reacts differently to carbohydrates. Some people can eat 6 buns in one meal with no issues, while for others, 2 can be risky. The best solution is to wear a continuous glucose monitor, CGM. This device, implanted on the upper arm, connects to your smartphone, and monitors your blood glucose levels continuously. With this device, you can immediately know the impact of a particular food on your blood sugar after consuming it. Wear it for a month, and you'll know which foods significantly increase your blood sugar, allowing you to avoid them. If a particular food is both delicious, and doesn't cause your blood sugar to rise, you might as well eat more of it. The continuous glucose monitor can also inform you about the effects of various exercises on lowering blood sugar. If you exercise more, you should eat more. Interestingly, it can also tell you about the effects of sleep and psychological stress on blood sugar, topics we will discuss later. The downside is that only doctors can provide you with this monitoring device, and it's relatively expensive. However, through observations of multiple patients, Attia has extracted some useful patterns from the data that can benefit everyone. 1. The more refined the carbohydrates, the higher the rate and level of blood sugar elevation. This means you should consume less processed and higher fiber foods instead of white rice or white flour. However, the blood sugar levels of brown rice are only slightly lower than those of white rice. 2. Moderate intensity aerobic exercise is most effective at clearing glucose. High-intensity exercise may temporarily raise blood sugar, because it prompts the liver to release more glucose, but that's not a problem. 3. Non-starchy vegetables like spinach and broccoli have almost no effect on blood sugar, and can be eaten freely. 4. High-protein and high-fat foods, such as eggs and steak, have almost no effect on blood sugar. Even lean protein like chicken breast only causes a slight increase in blood sugar. Don't be afraid to eat meat. This leads us to the second essential nutrient, protein. For most people, the issue with protein isn't overconsumption, but underconsumption. Protein and the amino acids that make up protein are the building blocks of our bodies. If you don't get enough protein, your muscles will deteriorate. Protein isn't an energy source, our bodies don't store excess protein. Whatever can't be absorbed is excreted as urea. So, don't worry about excessive protein. The US government has a standard recommendation for daily protein intake, but Attia finds it disdainfully small. He believes that for adult males with a physique similar to his, the upper limit for daily protein intake is approximately equivalent to 7 or 8 chicken breasts. Older individuals might need even more protein, because they experience more severe muscle loss. The best sources of protein are meat, eggs, and dairy. Animal protein. What if you're a vegetarian, and you only eat plant-based protein like tofu? The answer is, not very effective. Plant protein is often bound by hard-to-digest fiber, and Attia considers it too inefficient in terms of nutritional efficiency. You would have to eat a lot to get enough. The third critical nutrient is fat. Fat provides both calories and protein, and in the form of cholesterol, it supplies hormones to the body. Fatty acids are useful for balancing metabolism and maintaining brain health. You need fat. Many people believe that eating fat will make them gain weight, but the real culprits for weight gain are pure carbohydrates, like white rice and white flour. The benefit of fat is that it combines with carbohydrates and proteins, making you feel full and less likely to overeat. Fats in food can be roughly divided into 4 types. 1. Saturated fats, SFA, which some studies suggest have certain disadvantages for the cardiovascular system. 2. Monounsaturated fats, MUFA, which studies suggest have some cardiovascular benefits, like olive oil. 3. Polyunsaturated fats, PUFA, which studies suggest have neither clear benefits nor harms. 4. Trans fats, a type of artificial fat, like margarine, which has been explicitly banned by the US FDA as it increases LDL cholesterol levels, leading to atherosclerosis. Natural fat-containing foods generally have the first 3 types of fats, and it's challenging to separate them. People's responses to saturated fats can be quite different, and blood lipids need to be tested individually. However, what can be said is that increasing monounsaturated fat intake is generally a good idea. In summary, limit carbohydrate intake, try to consume more protein, and don't worry too much about fat. So, a reasonable nutrition plan is much more than just dieting. There is a current trend called 16-hour fasting, where you choose a fixed 8-hour window for eating each day and fast the rest of the time. Attia doesn't endorse this approach, because research results don't support its effectiveness. Long-term fasting is even worse because it can lead to protein deficiency, muscle loss, and a decrease in immune function. Fasting should only be considered in cases of severe overnutrition that require unconventional measures. Based on the best current knowledge, Attia summarizes nutrition into the following 4 basic rules. 1. Don't consume too many or too few calories. 2. Consume adequate protein and essential fats. 3. Obtain necessary vitamins and minerals. 4. Avoid pathogens like E. coli and toxins like mercury or lead. Stop listening to those unfounded nutritional guidelines circulating among the public. They are baseless anxieties and misconceptions. Ultimately, nutrition can only prevent your body from deteriorating. If you want to improve your body, you need to rely on exercise. That concludes this section. In the next part, we will discuss sleep.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.